It. Do you want to give an introduction?
I'm going to give an introduction. I'm going to start off with, my name is David Simmer, and I'm with the Friends of Sacred Landmarks, and I'm doing an interview over here at Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Elyria, Ohio, and I am interviewing, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Jim Anton.
And what church, Jim, do you go to?
Emmanuel Lutheran.
Oh, so you're right over here then.
That's it.
How long have you been a member of this church?
A long time.
All right, give me an approximate.
I would say 75 plus years.
Okay. All right. The church itself has always been at this location, as far as you know.
Yes, since 1932.
Was the whole complex built back then, or was
No, it was 2000 and I think it was 2002. Time kind of flips by, but 2002 we embarked on the expansion and modernization of the facilities. Prior to that, there was a wing added over here for Sunday school purposes and a lounge. That probably was in the 50s. I don't remember exactly the date. But then that was all redone, and the church itself was turned around 180 degrees from what it originally was.
So the altar is where the back of the church is?
Yes.
Why did they do the change?
Because we had the parking back here,
Okay.
and was more convenient to put the gathering area on this side of the church. And so then when we were updating and redoing the interior, it seemed only logical to reverse it. And we eliminated, there was 3 steps up to the platform and then a couple more steps up to the altar, and we did away with all of those levels. It's basically a floor level and up one now that you see where the altar is.
Change is hard for a lot of the churches. How did the people respond when somebody proposed the change?
As far as the addition, the Sunday school rooms and that space, gathering area, I think it was wildly accepted.
Okay.
Turning the church around 180 degrees, there were some folks that had a little trouble with that initially, but I think now that it's been that way for, well, it's what, 9 years, I guess.
Okay.
I think they've come along now.
Was that when they put the elevator in? And
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yep.
How long did the renovation take?
How long did it take?
Just, I mean, like 6
Yeah.
months, a year?
About a year in total.
And then where did you worship while that was happening?
In the fellowship hall down below.
Did that present any problems or create unusual circumstances?
There's, no pews, no organ, but we have a piano down there, and no, really, it worked out. It worked out okay. There was a period of time when it didn't affect us. Maybe a year's time in all of the construction, but the amount of time that we were out of the sanctuary is probably more like 3 months. Primarily because all this construction over here could take place without interfering with the sanctuary. But once they got into that part of it, of course, that was number 1 item to be dealt with. So that kind of speeded up the operation on getting that done.
I noticed we had a chance to tour the church earlier. We were able to look at the beautiful stained glass windows and the flow of them. Who came up with the concept for the stained glass windows in there?
That would have been Pastor Hall. That fella right there, the lower one.
1961 to 1974.
Yeah, it was early on. It was sometime in the 60s. I don't remember exactly when it got started, but I know there were two individuals that pledged the money for the 2 large windows at the end, 1 each. Then the other ones were individually picked up by members of the congregation.
Who came up with the concept of flowing starting at the Nativity and moving through the life of Christ?
I think Pastor Hall instrumental in that, along with, and I think it was Wilt Stained Glass people that did the work. I think that's who it was. And of course with their guidance and his guidance, so I just kind of came together.
What kind of windows did they have before that?
They were amber colored, like you would see down at the lower level.
Okay.
They're just an amber color.
There's some more. All right, that's
Yeah.
nice. And they did a great job. They did a very good
Yeah,
job.
it's turned out quite good. Probably one of these days we're gonna have to take the plastic shields off and redo them with something that's lets the light in a little bit better. As you can see them here, they're pretty foggy looking.
Oh,
When on a nice sunny day from the south, it doesn't seem to bother it any, but one of these days.
you know, you said you've been in this church for many years. What is probably some of the most memorable events or people that you can remember during those times? Are there anybody that you like, all right, that jump out at you?
Well, as I think of as a kid, I remember Mrs. Minchenberg, who was superintendent of the Sunday school, and her husband was a doctor, George Minchenberg. But she had a way with running the Sunday school that was well done. Of course, at that time we met in one, basically in one space with these, what do you call them there?
Like dividers?
Shields, yeah, got dividers. They would fold in thirds. You know what I mean? Between the classes, and not to the way now we have individual classrooms for individual classes, but then it was all in one big room. And I can remember church picnics that used to be down at Cascade Park. And these are times when I was a kid, probably, I'm not sure how old, 10, 12, somewhere in there. And I remember those as being a lot of fun.
Well, I listened to you talk to the name. Was this a German parish at one time, or has it always been English speaking?
Oh, one of the founding members' name was Fenner. I'm not sure what nationality that is, but that might not be German. That might be Finnish or Danish.
But there's no real strong ethnic
No,
ties.
not really. No, I'd say it's a mixture.
Well, I'm sorry, I was
No,
gonna say,
go for
what made Mrs. Mitchenberg so memorable?
Just the way she was just kind of cool, calm, and collected, and didn't get upset over anything. It appeared to me anyway, and I think it's just a comforting feeling that she was in control, and even though she looked old, I'm sure she probably was old in comparison to me as a kid, but I just marveled at the fact she kind of drew up the classroom material for the whole bunch of kids that ranged in ages from, you know, kindergarten on up, and did it without much fuss or muss.
How did your family come to be associated with the church?
Well, my mother was a member of St. John's, where my grandparents belonged.
Where's that?
That's here in Elyria. It's now out by the mall. It used to be downtown on Broad Street, Broad and East Avenue.
That's also a Lutheran church?
Yes, but it's a Missouri Synod Lutheran church. And my father was a Mason. And the Missouri Lutheran Church didn't look kindly upon Masonry, the secret organization type thing. And so they searched around and found this church.
And this is what Synagogue Lutheran? Is this
ELCA, yeah.
evangelical
Yeah, right.
Lutheran?
Oh, was your mother's family upset when she left the Missouri Synod?
I guess I don't really know. Not that, you know, nothing that I ever heard of, but they wouldn't let my dad in down there, so if they were gonna go to church together, why, this was it.
So I take it you would have made your confirmation here?
Did,
You confirmed
yes.
here. What kind of preparation did you have to go through for confirmation? What kind of classes were there or instruction?
Dr. Urick was the instructor. I'd ride my bicycle I used to live out next to the stadium, ride my bicycle from there to here every Saturday morning. It was basically an all morning, well, I suppose 2 hours, I'm not sure just what the time was. But the classwork was basically Luther's catechism, and Dr. Urick put it out. And later, well, that wasn't when I was there. When I was going, he was the only instructor. Later on, there was a lady that assisted him in the classwork. But initially, at least when I was going, well, it was just the one. I don't recall. Well, my kids came here too, and were confirmed. But that wasn't Dr. Urick anymore.
Did you have a confirmation verse?
Verse?
Yeah. Did some traditions, in some traditions, each person being confirmed has a special verse, that's their confirmation verse?
Didn't have anything like that at that time, that I remember anyway.
What year was it that you were confirmed? I bet we can find your picture on the wall somewhere.
Yeah, it's out there. Oh, now that's an embarrassing question. I should have.
Sorry, you signed this form. Just teasing.
We can always ask the other way, what age were you?
No, I was 12, that's what I was just thinking, so it had to be about 44.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll check on it later.
Just see how I'm close.
Okay.
One way or the other.
Your confirmation is a major event. What were some of the other memorable events that you remember in this church? Did you get married in this church?
No, my wife was from Michigan and we were married in Michigan. All three of my children they were baptized and confirmed here. One of them is still here, the youngest one. So I have her and 3 grandchildren are coming. Although with today's society, with mothers working and all of that, the church membership gets kind of shaky. My other 2 kids are in Colorado. So.
Has the church gotten older? Were there a lot more children when you were in school?
It kind of does one of these. And right now, I'd say we've got quite a few younger families and younger kids. As a matter of fact, there's been one wave they must be seniors in high school, I think, this year now. And I think there's another group of middle school kids are beginning to be more active in different goings on. I'm not sure where we were with that.
You had mentioned picnics. So what made those church picnics so special?
Well, it was well, they had all kinds of games and things, and of course I can remember playing, playing ball down there at Cascade and roasting hot dogs and marshmallows. was quite fun. It didn't include the church service. It was after church service, so it really wasn't tied real tight to that. But it was fun, just a fun time to go.
Did everybody bring food? Or?
Yeah, it was one of those